Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Classic. This is our first show in 2022. My name is Ralph Quattrucci.
My name is Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Debbie Murphy.
I'm John Quattrucci.
And I'm Chris Coker.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. How was everyone's New Year's?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Woo!
It was good. Happy New Year to you guys.
Debbie and I were drinking and gambling.
You guys were playing poker that night.
Yeah.
Oh, you were playing poker New Year's Eve?
Yes.
They're such degenerates. It's so cool. I can't get over this.
Yeah, we went out to dinner and I said to my wife, I go, we'll probably be waiting 2 hours to get in. So whatever. So let's go early. We went in there at about 6 o'clock and there was about 20% capacity in the place. It was completely empty. So we were done in about an hour and a half and we were with some friends and we were like, well, we'll go back to our house till midnight. And I'm like, oh, that's like 4.5 hours away. I don't know if we're going to make it, but we made it. We had fireball shots. We had some Mick Ultra and we were watching the ball drop. So it was awesome.
4.5
really
hours. You had time to watch the long version of Heaven's Gate.
Speaking of
Yes,
what we're
you
going to do
do.
tonight. All right. So a good one for everybody. Everybody stayed safe. Everybody's fine. Everybody's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we
Living
get
the
into Chris Coker, we spun the wheel in 2021. Chris is
Kicking
doing our
the year
first show.
off.
He'll announce his movie when we get there. But let's do a round of what you watch. Let's start with John Quattrucci.
Well, I watch. So, I've talked a couple of times about, and Chris will like this. A lot of the superhero shows I'm having problems with because they're going for, they're going a little bit woke. It's not about the superheroes. It's about the message. And there's a show that used to be on the CW that's now on Disney Plus called Stargirl. And it's a really good superhero show for a couple of reasons. They respect the history of the characters, the most comic accurate costumes. And it is a change because the team of superheroes are younger superheroes with a mentor. But it's a really well done show. And every now and then they try to get a message across, but not compared to like the shows on the CW or even some of the movies. But it's a really good superhero show. And if you have younger kids, I think they'd really like it because the lead character is a 13-year-old girl. She's the hero in it, and it's really well done. Good special effects and good scripts too. So I recommend it highly. I just watched the second season. I really enjoyed it. So
Stargirl?
Yeah, Stargirl. It's very good.
John's 100% right.
Maybe I'll watch that just waiting for the boys to come back out because they're still hanging on that one. So.
I know. Yeah, it's the complete opposite of the boys.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sure. All right, Sean and Debbie.
Well, we kind of watched something together. We were very much, one of the films we were looking forward to this year was Being the Ricardos. And we planned to see it in the movies, but because of the holidays, we couldn't. And well, Debbie never managed to watch it. We tried it a couple times. She just hated it and kept stopping. I watched it all the way through and I had problems with it. I was very disappointed.
I really love Lucy. And I don't think Nicole Kidman gave a 1/10 of 1% anything close to what the woman was, and I just couldn't see her, and I just couldn't see her as Lucy.
What was it
that's
about?
just
What?
me.
Yeah,
that's just
was
me.
it? Is that the only reason you didn't like her portrayal, or was it Sean? You were mentioning to me off camera that the structure of the show is 1 week during her when she was outed.
Yeah, and it's like
Red Scare.
Yeah,
I knew it was going to be the Red Scare because that's the pivotal week. But then they throw in, this is the week she's pregnant. Oh, this is the week we had to battle the network and the show about whether she could be pregnant. Oh, this is the week the Hollywood Confidential story came out about Ricky cheating on her. Oh, this is the week that Vivian Vance confronts Lucy about her having to be fatter and dress frumpy. Oh, this is the week that William Fraley hated Vivian Vance. Oh, well, that was actually every week of the show. They really did hate each other. That was probably the best part of the movie.
I don't think they were good friends. And
no, they really despised each other.
But what that movie prompted me to do, because 2022, I just took a long deep dive into the Holocaust on YouTube. looking at all the
Wait, wait,
listening to all the.
You went from Lucy to the Holocaust?
Yes.
Yeah, it's more cheerful.
Actually, seeking to which, spiritual love, to have more love in my heart for people. And
Well, you didn't like Jewish people before? What are you saying? I'm confused.
no, just to hear their stories.
I still, the leap.
It's quite a segue.
The leap
It is
from Ricky and Lucy.
It's a really weird thing that happened to my brain. Okay.
Well, let me just say this on the newest episode of Cue It Up with the Q Brothers. One of the things we're going to talk about is this show, which I did enjoy. But I will tell you, Debbie, what it made me do. Ralph always talks about going down the rabbit hole. After I watched the movie, which I really did like, I watched a documentary it was either on YouTube or on Netflix called Being Lucy.
Yeah, it's YouTube for sure.
And it was excellent. I mean, it talks about everything that happened. Look, they compressed the time period. So for dramatic
That's the
purposes,
conceit of a doc.
that's right. To put everything in that 1 week, which is, I totally get that.
Whoa. But let's look at something else. What about the phony documentary overlay where they're doing like contemporaneous interviews with Bob Carroll?
That was just a framing structure. That didn't bother me. I mean,
Jesse Oppenheimer. If they were going to do that, get real things instead of having actors.
Yeah, I thought I was a little.
Weren't all the real people dead? All the real people were dead. Yeah, so that didn't.
Because I'm looking at Linda Lavin going.
Linda Lavin is doing an interview, and I'm thinking, wait a minute,
what is she doing? Anyway, but what I took out of it was that Debbie and Sean are our Lucy and Ricky of this podcast for sure. Okay.
Debbie, you got some explaining to do.
No doubt in my mind that you guys. But again, we'll do a little longer dive into your jump from I Love Lucy to the Holocaust. Because that's we'll do that on a Cue It Up because that's fascinating.
Yeah, okay? But check out Cue It Up. I think you're going to enjoy it more than you enjoyed the movie.
Like John, I enjoyed it too. I'm a sucker for Adam Sorkin, not his directing. But his writing, I could listen to that all day.
Yeah, that definitely was Adam Sorkin writing.
I love the pattern. I love the pattern. It's so. And Javier is great, and I thought Nicole Kidman did a decent job for what she.
Chris, did you see it?
No, I haven't. Is it?
It's Amazon Prime. Yeah.
No, I meant, is it Aaron Sorkin or Adam Sorkin?
Aaron, I screwed up the name probably. It's Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin. Adam is his cousin. Adam is his cousin. He was a failed screenwriter, but
I was just
Aaron.
Say that I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin's writing as well.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely check it out now.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge, I Love Lucy's fine. I've seen a few episodes, but I'm not one of these people that has I never had a real connection there.
Well, and while we're on this subject, and I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier. Rest in peace, Betty White. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't bring this up earlier.
Yeah. Sue Ann Niven.
You talk about a rabbit hole. I fell down a rabbit hole with all her Saturday Night Live things, her Snickers commercial, Lake Placid, where she plays that foul mouth lady who's feeding the alligator, is just amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, rest in peace, Betty White.
I also read something. She
almost made it to 100. Oh my God!
I read something about her that she was actually on the first television broadcast ever done. She was.
When you look at her stuff,
she's been in it forever.
She was doing a series, Betty Elizabeth or something, A Day with Elizabeth, early
series.
On. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, Chris. I just want to throw that out there. But
Chris, what are you watching?
Well,
we co-hosting this show now. Are you co-hosting?
I just felt like I thought in 2022, one of my resolutions is try to make the show a lot better.
Yeah. Nice.
You try.
I'll go then.
I can mute you, by the way. Go ahead.
One of the things I watched, which was originally going to be, I thought might be the choice for this week, was Perry Hensel's 1972 classic, The Harder They Come, starring Jimmy Cliff. The first film produced completely.
Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah, the reggae artist.
Yeah.
First film produced completely in Jamaica, starring Jamaicans. They actually, a lot of the versions you will see are subtitled because they speak that patois. So it's terrific. It is, it's basically an outlaw movie, very, very similar to almost like a Bonnie and Clyde. In the sense that here's this guy who goes, he's a country boy that moves to the city to try to make it in the city, and he goes through all these different things, and the odds are stacked against him, and he eventually turns to a life of crime, and gets the fame that he's seeking. There's an absolutely fantastic scene where Jimmy Cliff sings the title song, "The Harder They Come," and they're in the studio as he's recording it, and there's just an energy there. I highly recommend it. It's actually a very
I've heard of it.
Well put together movie. It made a huge hit as a midnight movie here. It played in Boston for literally like 6 years. And the story is, and this is a story they talk about, I'm not sure how many times it happened, but apparently when Jimmy Cliff would come and play Boston, he would go to this one theater that showed it like a couple of times a week as a matinee, and he would literally jump up on the stage and act out some of the parts. And of course, people would lose their minds and stuff. But I highly recommend it. It's really good. It's kind of this, like I said, it's a very kind of, rags to outlaw story, but with an absolutely fantastic soundtrack. It's one of the soundtracks that literally, along with Bob Marley, is credited with breaking reggae out into a far wider international audience. It's terrific.
I never heard of it.
It's called "The Harder They Come."
And where'd you stream this?
It's a terrific story.
Did you stream it, or where'd you see it? Where do you see it?
It is actually on. If you have Comcast has all these weird apps like streaming services, and it's on Xumo, XUMO, and it's in high def and it's free. So that was a
Comcast, but with Comcast.
But yes, you have to have Comcast.
John, have you seen it? You shook your head a little bit. Have you seen this movie?
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it. I was thinking if we were going to do it, I know a woman who handles a lot of the legacy rap stars. I mean,
all right, before you make any promises, see if you can get her on the show first, then we'll talk about it, okay? Yeah. 2022, that's my resolution. Anytime you say you're going to bring someone on, we're going to book them first, then say you're going to bring them on. Deal?
Okay. Deal. I don't mention any names until I.
We are starting the year off hot.
Strong.
I'm going to bring on Uncle Al.
I would love to bring on Uncle Al.
That would be awesome.
We'll have to work that out. Yeah. I'm going to be quick on mine. I saw Matrix Matrix Resolutions, I think it's
Resurrections.
Resurrections?
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Don't see it. I was expecting a lot more. It's very meta. I don't know if the director wanted to direct this film, because it seems like she didn't want to direct it, because all the stuff she's putting in there about how Warner Brothers forced, what's his name is now a game. Anyway, don't see it. I think it sucked.
Yeah.
As much as I wanted to get that feeling I had when I saw The Matrix the first time, and I didn't really like the sequels of The Matrix. I really only liked the first one.
They were terrible.
This thing is just...
Yeah, you know what? I haven't watched it.
What a miss it is.
I haven't even watched it because first of all, I love Keanu Reeves. I love the John Wick movies. I love The Matrix, and I know that this movie is going to be terrible because I have not read one good review on it. And then Ralph, after you said that, it's like I don't even want to watch it because it's gonna. I can't. And I probably should, but
it's like they're pointing you at they're just saying to you, I know this is what you wanted, but this is what we gave you. There's no Lawrence Fishburne, but I'm here playing Lawrence Fishburne, or now it's a Hollywood executive that's the bad guy. Played by Jonathan Groff, who's great. I mean, the guy's great, and the therapist played by Doogie Howser. I can never remember that.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick. So they've added some good people, but it's just. Sean, have you seen it?
I'll tell you what, it's terrible. They just changed all the rules of the universe and how things work so completely. It's like why am I watching this? And you're right. Apparently, Warner Brothers was going to make this whether any of his sisters were involved or not. One wouldn't do it.
Right.
Right.
But no,
it comes off that way. It comes off like
I would like it.
An FU to
what was the number one reason why it failed?
Because it was terrible.
It also, from what I read, and I haven't seen it, but what I read was it doesn't respect the original. It reinvents everything. Like Keanu Reeves, the whole point of The Matrix is he's the one. Now he's not the one. And also the action scenes at his age
that's the thing.
aren't like they were when he was, that first movie.
And all the things that made the first one cool, they bring up as a bunch of idiots talking about bullet time and all the stuff that made that one so mind-boggling and breakthrough and all that. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. And Keanu Reeves was never the one. It was him with Trinity.
Right.
Well, yeah, but that's like that's not the way they did it.
And then it turns into a Let's Rescue Trinity or Tiffany, whatever her name is now.
But the thing is, it's like they wouldn't even like he could fly in the other movies. Now he can't fly, but she can, and she never flew. But also how they get in and out of the Matrix, why the Matrix exists. There is how the humans are. It just none of it makes any sense. It's sort of like it sort of reminded me of the very last of the Star Wars trilogy, though that was better. The last one of those where they just suddenly start making stuff up.
Right. Exactly.
They had 8 films to set everything up.
Right.
And then in the last film, they're like inventing stuff.
Did you hear what Keanu Reeves did with his 70% of his salary? He donated to what was it, cancer treatments or something? Leukemia. 70%.
Did he do that with this one or is it
this one? He did that with this one. Yeah.
He doesn't need it. They don't need it. I mean, but and like you said, he looks a little long in the tooth, running around. And
listen, I still like if you watch the John Wick movies, the action scenes.
That's all I know.
The action scenes in those movies are spectacular.
Yeah.
But in this one, they said he did a lot of this where he was making the bullets go, but he really wasn't fighting that much, like in the first one. And that's what you want to see. And I get it. I mean, he's not a kid.
Watch it anyway, John, just so you see it. But I say skip. I say skip it. But
here's my one question, and why I wish everyone would see it is whether you think this one is worse than The Matrix Revolutions #3. Because that one was really bad.
Actually, both the sequels, sequels were pretty bad. I mean, the second one had some good scenes in it, but it just the first one is just
it's mind blowing.
I've seen the first one like 5 times in the last 2 months. I just love that movie. Everything about it all the time too. I just love it, and there was so much the technical stuff they did for the first time. Now it's all tired stuff.
The only thing I remember from the second sequel is that highway chase. That's the only thing I remember with those 2 white.
Well, don't you remember all the Agent Smiths going after him?
Yes, but I really remember that anyway.
Mr.
So when they really can't die, there's no stakes.
Yeah.
When they're like super.
Well, that's right.
That's enough. So skip it. All right, let's get into when movies were movies. 1974.
Of course, Ralph. The 70s. That's when movies were movies.
Chris, what's the film you brought?
I brought Michael Cimino's first feature film called Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, starring Clint Eastwood and a very young, absolutely cool Jeff Bridges.
Totally cool. They said this is the Big Lebowski when he was very young. He's just basically it's Lebowski.
He's basically the story is it's kind of straightforward. Well, that's actually not straightforward at all.
Let me show the trailer first, and then we can start talking about some of the deets on this thing. Let's see if I can get this thing up and running.
Let each of us study to improve ourselves.
Like I mentioned, this is Michael Cimino's first feature film. Cimino probably most famous for winning the Best Picture and Best Director for The Deer Hunter.
Or Destroying United Artists with Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate, which, by the way, is still an amazing film.
Well, I'll disagree with that later, but
yeah, we can talk about that in another.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
That being said, Cimino met Clint Eastwood. He was brought in as a screenwriter on Magnum Force, the second of the 2 Dirty Harry films, which was, I think, the story and first screen pass were done by John Milius, right? And they became pretty good friends. And Cimino has even said if it weren't for, Clint Eastwood, he wouldn't have a career. Clint Eastwood kind of gave him, said, I'll make a movie with you when he read Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. So basically it's the story of these one professional kind of pseudo ex-criminal and one grifter, the young guy, and the very fast friendship that they formed. This is one of those films where honestly, I'm not sure why it's not as well remembered as a lot of other great Clint Eastwood films. I mean, I have my own theories on it. This is one of those ones when I talk about it, people kind of look at me sideways. You know, they remember Dirty Harry and Magnum Force and, you know, The Gauntlet and a bunch of his other films from the 70s, Play Misty for Me, which is amazing. But this one always seems to fall down, and which is surprising because Jeff Bridges actually won Best Supporting. He won an Oscar for his role as Lightfoot.
No, he was won or was nominated?
Nominated. Didn't win.
Yeah, he didn't win.
I'm sorry.
No.
He was
Nominated, but that's
My
nominated.
mistake.
For sure nominated.
Okay, anyway. Well, he should have won because he was awesome.
Yeah, he was great.
He's fantastic in this film. And so, and then you add on top of it, like George Kennedy is in it, who's he's great in everything.
Red.
I really like him as Red Leary in this movie.
Yeah.
But essentially, I mean, it starts out as, you know, it's overall from the trailer, it looks like a hardcore heist film. And while the heist definitely takes part of the story, it's really about the relationship between these two guys and then the additional relationship of these two other guys that kind of come in. And then they have this kind of weird push and pull. In the sense that, you know, one of the things I really like about this film is that, you know, they're so kind of honest with each other. There's a great scene early on where, you know, Clint Eastwood's character wants to split up. You know, he and Lightfoot had a little adventure together. They stole a couple of cars kind of thing. And then they're leaving. And he's like, I want you to have this watch, kid. And he's like, I don't want your watch. I want your friendship. You know, it's a great kind of honest moment where he's like, you know, I like you. I think we're good together. We should do this. And I mean, obviously, I've read a number of, you know, articles that have said, you know, that there's this relationship between them. And it is about their relationship. And even there's that great scene where they're walking along the river and they're kind of having a little picnic with some beers and some apples.
The Olympia beer.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
apples.
And apples.
It is. And I can see where people might look at it and go, this is about, you know, two men in love or something like that. And while I think they do love one another, I don't think it's a kind of a sexual thing.
No, it's a bromance.
It's a bromance.
It's a bromance.
It's
uh,
like Ralph and Burt Reynolds.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. It's Butch and Sundance.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what's great is like for Butch and Sundance, where they're already together, you kind of see the beginning. And don't get me wrong, some of the issues that I have with this film is that like a lot of things happen just by circumstance.
Yeah.
You know,
Major problem.
And what I mean by circumstances, like they'll just be there, and then something will happen to kick the story off to the next part of the, you know, the next.
Like I don't know how anybody found anybody. There's always the guy's
like,
ready to shoot
Contrived.
them. The what?
Yes.
It's contrived for sure.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm willing to overlook all that because the performances are solid. And I just think it's a really entertaining film. It's got some great, you know, it's funny. I did read that Eastwood was actually a little bit bitter after the film came out because everybody was talking about Jeff Bridges' performance. And he really felt that his performance was great. And you know what? It really is one of his better, more subtle, nuanced performances. He's not trying to be this ultra hard guy. He's not Dirty Harry. Who is so funny too, because when you watch the first two Dirty Harry movies, which I think are fantastic, you know, you talk about sequels and the law of diminishing returns. That's a series that really, after Magnum Force, in my opinion, just kind of really dropped off.
Yes, but they were still great. I mean,
it did bigger box office.
Not the fifth one. I didn't like the one with Jim Carrey. That one wasn't
Deadpool.
But I like the third one. And well, okay, so yeah, now this is the 70s through and through, right? So this misogyny.
So
everywhere.
Ralph was in his glory.
Oh my God! You know they're looking at waitresses' asses. They're picking up women left and right. That one, you know, girl starts screaming rape, and you know,
and Daisy Duke,
Duke,
Catherine Bach,
Catherine Bach is in there. And I think the reason I think this gets a lot of confusion between this and the Iger Sanction. Remember that other Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
And
also
I think
with George Kennedy.
I think George Kennedy's in that one too. I remember this one as a kid, specifically for the last scene, the last act in this film, with what happens. I mean, we can spoil it. It came out in 74.
Yeah.
With what happens to Jeff Bridges' character. I forget his name. It's Lightfoot.
Lightfoot.
So, I remember that specifically. Now, watching it again now, I thought the film was, first of all, it's a Cimino film with some humor in it. right?
A lot of humor, not a little bit, a lot.
So he's really not known for his humor. I mean, Deer Hunter was serious from the get-go. I didn't see Heaven's Gate. I imagine that was super serious.
That was
but it was funny.
He's done another. I know he did some other cop type film.
Year of the Dragon.
That's right. Okay, Mickey Rourke. Is Mickey Rourke in the
Mickey Rourke?
And he has since transitioned, right, to a woman. Yes. He's now a woman.
Yep.
Well, no, he's dead, but
he transitioned
before he died.
Big transition.
Right. Exactly. That's the big transition. So that scene with Jeff Bridges, where Jeff dresses up as a woman, takes on a whole, and he looked pretty good actually as a woman.
Well, looking back and revising it, knowing that he transitioned, a lot more is being read into the relationship than was there. Do you know what I'm saying?
The relationship
between Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges.
Oh, well, I mean, you could look at that and you could definitely say there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
Just the way Bridges was playing it. But
you can even take a look at that and also talk about it as the same way. Once the George Kennedy character comes in, Red Leary comes in, you could almost see him as like Clint Eastwood's ex-partner, friend, girlfriend, however you want to break it down. Because there's a nice little scene in there, where George Kennedy and Jeff Bridges are getting some gear for the heist, right? And he's like, Kennedy tells him, no, it was actually Eastwood that's the war hero. And he says to him, he's like, well, why did you try to kill him? He's like, because we were friends.
Right.
That it was because they were friends that it made what he felt was that betrayal even worse.
Well, the film starts with all these guys going after Clint because they thought he ratted them out to the police authorities about the money that was hidden in the one-room schoolhouse.
Exactly.
So they all thought that Clint had already taken that money, so they were trying to assassinate him. Red hooks back up with him after that whole scene. Like, this is one of those scenes that's just contrived. All of a sudden, they're at the same place that Thunderbolt and Lightfoot are, and start shooting at him, and then they partner up and decide to do the same robbery again, the same safe crack.
Well, he's successfully tracking them everywhere.
Right.
They're driving totally aimlessly around.
Right. And everybody's being found.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a total road film. It's a road film.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a road film.
It's midnight. It's midnight.
Midnight Run.
Midnight Run.
Yeah.
It's Thelma and Louise.
It's Thelma and Louise. It's Midnight Run. I mean,
it's Road to Rio.
So, I mean, Cimino, I thought did this is a nice job directing this one. I thought it was, Deer Hunter is amazing, right? Deer Hunter is just off the charts.
Well, one of the things is, and I read Stephen Bach's book about called Final Cut, which is about Heaven's Gate and the debacle that it became. Right. And he talks Cimino talks a lot about this film. And one of the things, and so does Stephen Bach, and one of the things he did was he was smart in the people he hired, the stunt directors he hired, the camera people he hired, because at this point in his career, he understood that he didn't really know how to make a movie as a director. So he hired good people and leaned on them. That's why, you talk about that car chase / shootout where they're shooting at him and, they go over the side, they're able to escape. They're able to escape, but it's a really great, well put together scene. I like scenes where action scenes, especially car chases, where you can tell what's happening, and I just think it's really it sounds like from everything I read, he really leaned on those guys that had been in the business, and had done these things to really make what's a really solid.
Imagine the pressure having Clint Eastwood give you the go on this, and he's in the film.
Yeah.
And Eastwood, I think I was reading some articles about how Eastwood was like, 3 takes, we're done. There's no reason to mess around. Let's just, can you imagine the pressure that's under Cimino?
He forces the best out of you, Eastwood. And the thing about Eastwood, for people who've worked with him, if he trusts you, he'll let you do your thing. But you're right. He's a very economical filmmaker. He brings them in under budget and under time. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, you did read the Stephen Bach book. Like when he was trying to get additional time to do something, and they're like, no, we're not going to give it to you. He's like, call Clint, ask Clint how many setups I was able to do on this one day, because he wasn't doing that on Heaven's Gate, but
how far down the line is this Jeff Bridges career? Last Picture Show
was before this. Yeah.
It was like 71 Last Picture Show, was either 70 or 71.
Yeah, he did a couple. This wasn't like his second movie. He had done a couple.
He'd done a few things, but and I think to your point, Chris, I think this is more thought about,
I think it is a movie that's talked about and thought about, but I think it's much more about Jeff Bridges than it is about Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, but this is a traditional Clint.
But that's not the performance that sticks out in this movie. It's Jeff Bridges.
No, but I'm saying that's what I mean. Clint is always Clint Eastwood. This didn't.
Yeah, but he was more understated than he usually is, and there was a little more
the priest playing the priest in his action.
No, not even that. It's a relationship with Jeff Bridges, which I thought was good.
Well, I like that he was playing an old guy. He's like, look, my leg is killing me. I'm too old for this. I don't want to get in another relationship with not sexual, but just a relationship. This is not going to go anywhere. What's the point?
10 years too late.
That's right. 10 years too late. That's
right. And ultimately, as we know what happens at the end, and they're foreshadowing that ending the whole time. Red is saying right from the beginning, I'm gonna punch you in the head and you're gonna die. He actually says that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I'm going to punch you in the head and you're going to die. And then Jeff Bridges, Lightfoot just kept egging him on. He does that scene where he fake kisses him on the lips, right? And just completely, that it's over. And when it actually happens, it's devastating because it happens slowly.
Yeah.
It isn't, I mean,
and it's going to happen even if you haven't seen the film. When George Kennedy pushes his friend, his loyal friend out of the back.
Jeffrey Lewis, by the way. And let's talk about some of the actors in this are all Clint Eastwood. I mean,
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey's in there. Yeah. The guy in the car with all the bunnies, that bunny scene, that guy that was putting the carbon monoxide. Yeah. That's the rapist from Deliverance. That's one of the guys who rapes Ned Beatty.
You got a pretty mouth.
Right. And the guy who is his partner, Clint Eastwood's work buddy there who goes to the bar. That's a guy who's in all these shows. He's in Blazing Saddles as well. Yeah. I don't know his name, but he's been around forever. So all these guys are in it. And
you have
go ahead.
You have Dub Taylor as the gas station attendant, which I mean, that is just a great 90 seconds of film when he's just going on about how
economy, right?
That's not it. That's not it.
And one of them is in Buffalo Nickel, and it's all going to go downhill.
Right. Yeah. But again, you can see why. I mean, I read that Clint was upset that he didn't get an Oscar nomination for this film, that only Bridges did.
This is the kind of film they were giving Oscars for, that too. This kind of like character study type of film.
Do you think it's a little too goofy though? That maybe that's why. Story. I mean, it's not French Connection, right? It's a little too tongue in cheek. It's like it's a little.
Well, Bridges got nominated, so
I know, but because he is such a presence on screen, that it's hard not to look away from him, right?
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest problem I have with the film is like how you get to the end, right? And they find the schoolhouse again, the one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
And it's a great moment, but you can't help but think to yourself, you're telling me they went up, they found the old location, the new school has been built there, and nobody bothered to ask like a custodian or somebody, hey, what happened to the old one? And they would have gone, oh yeah, it's out on Route 97.
Right.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, there's no movie if you do that.
Right. That's, right.
Or it's a 20-minute short.
Where's the conflict there?
You would also ask if it was torn down, which they assumed it was, some contractor would have found that money.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I would be going after the people who built the school.
Yes. Yes. Or who demoed the old building. That's what you're trying to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
but how fun is it though that the way they got caught was a shirt tail hanging outside a trunk going into a drive-in movie theater, and that redheaded women are bad luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hay fever.
Right.
And hay fever.
Right.
Hay fever. Yeah.
Bridges said that early. Redheaded women are bad luck, and then sure enough, that's the lady who's at the work in the drive-in, sees a tail hanging out of the trunk, and bust them for what's that, 50 cents? We used to do that all the time at the drive-in.
Oh yeah.
Sneak it in the trunk.
Yeah. Ralph would be going to the drive-in by himself with 6 people in the trunk. Why are you going by yourself, son?
And to me, though, what I remember as a kid is Jeff Bridges' death. His death, the way his character passes away, and how slowly it happens, and he sees it happening. We as a viewer see it slowly happening. He does that thing with his lip, and his arm is, and it's just devastating.
Well, it's seen in the church where he just started staring out this space.
He just lost.
And he's like, Lightfoot. Yeah, it was tough.
And that's what I remember as this film for. And the big gun, the giant gun, which is all the posters,
which
and
is really
everything
cool.
Yeah. So
and it's I mean, his scene is especially it's extra heartbreaking when he kind of tells a little bit about himself, and he's like, I was going to be sent off to a boarding school. I was too much for my parents to handle, and he was basically like, I met this lady on the train, and we spent 2 weeks in New Orleans, but hey, it was good. We had a good time. And then at the end, where he's like, I feel, he's like, I don't feel like a criminal.
Right.
I feel like we did a job.
Like
well
a hero.
done.
Heroes.
I'm a hero. Like, feel like we're, And, as he's breaking down, and you're just, at that point, you're like,
And he's driving in the white Cadillac, which is all
that he wanted so much.
What he wanted, yeah.
So
and it was like,
all
right, he
Debbie,
wins, but at what a cost,
I need to hear Debbie's perspective.
Okay. I know this. Okay.
It made me think of Joseph Mengele.
Oh, why did I laugh like that? So
That's not
frivolously. So Clint Eastwood, of course, I love seeing him with the shirt off. That scene when he takes.
He did that a lot too. Did that a lot in this movie.
Oh, and the back of his back. Oh man, he's muscles in his back.
Yeah,
Still is like
she likes that.
I bet he still is.
I love his arm muscles and his back. But it's a guy.
Here you go, Debbie, right there. Here he is.
Romance.
Yeah,
The way
there he is.
The way the
Yeah, there he
sweat
is.
cascades down his glistening body.
Yeah. But I love him in Rawhide, and I love to see his
Rowdy Yates.
Rawhide. You know what I mean? I love to see his Rawhide, but
Oh boy.
sorry. Oh, this is so terrible.
Okay, but the film.
Okay, cut that out.
Oh,
So anyway, it's a bromance. It's Brian's song. When you
good
guys
point.
are talking
Good
about
call.
Nice.
so many avenues. So I have witnessed my husband's various romances through the years, and it's interesting to watch it on film. It's just kind of a fun thing to see romances.
Bromances, yeah.
And men finding each other.
Yeah.
A friendship, and maybe more than a friendship.
Showers.
A kinship, like a going through some kind
Well,
of.
that's why it's so devastating at the end when Clint loses this guy, because he was fighting it the whole time. He's like, I can't afford to get in a relationship with anybody. I'm broken. I don't want to do this. I got nothing. And then he finally meets the guy, and the guy's taken from him.
And they were successful.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a powerful film that affected me back as a kid just because of what I saw at the end. But now knowing, all these years, it's like, wow, it's a really well done. Now it's like we're talking about this misogyny. Women are treated shitty, and
men aren't treated much better though.
No, everybody's dying in this thing. They're all getting flopped around and wearing a dead man's suit and all that. That's the other thing. He's wearing his dead man's suit.
I wouldn't say women are treated shabbily. I say that they're treated with disregard, like they don't matter.
Well, except redheads are bad luck. I mean, they did play a pivotal role. Let's talk about Reds.
Well, let me
let's talk about. Go ahead.
Well, first, I saw this kid when I was a kid too, like you, and I really loved it, and I was really impacted at the end as well as you are, and as I am now. But I tell you, now I had more problems with it. It's sort of like people, particularly in the first act, didn't behave like people do. It's like, how did Clint Eastwood manage to become a pastor of the church? And then if you know your opponent and it's in there, do you go in and shoot him on Sunday morning in front of all those people? I mean, it's just, and it's sort of like later when Jeff Bridges is like, well, we could do something. Like what? Well, you could teach me how to hit a bank or something. And it's like, wait a minute, they never mentioned anything about banks. They just.
Yeah, but back up a sec. That scene in the church, visually, did you enjoy that scene?
It's interesting, yes. But to me, it's symptomatic of why Cimino films fail overall.
He had one film fail, right? I mean, what?
No, okay, if you say The Deer Hunter's good, what other film was good?
Well, the Dragon
Heaven
one is
Gate.
pretty good. And this one's good.
The Sicilian?
Okay, that was terrible.
Desperate Hours?
Not good.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe.
You know what?
I'm
The one
not
good
saying-
thing I'll say about him, I thought he had done Highlander too, but he didn't. So at least he doesn't have that on his shoulders.
That was about.
No, I mean, it's kind of, it's like what you said, Chris. It's like stuff just happens to force the plot along. And
But that's
in
any
the
film. Why are we
70s, that was
complaining?
more allowed.
That
You know,
happens in
but
every
it's sloppy writing. It would be just as easy to make it really happen, and it would be better for the characters.
any film that requires coincidence to move a plot along, you can break it down in a second. Like one
Here's the
thing
Every
isn't right.
film has one coincidence. If you have two coincidences, I mean, every film is based on something weird happening.
Right.
that changes
Miscommunication.
something.
If you had a cell phone, it would be over right now. Done.
Yeah,
One call.
But there's like one coincidence, and that would be in this case these two guys meeting. And it's if it was a rom-com, this is definitely a meet cute. He's a priest running from being the things. He just stole a car and hits the one guy. I mean, on a rom-com, what could be a better meet cute than that? And the performances are great. I think Clint is great, but man, Jeff Bridges is fantastic. And
Yeah.
I still, I get choked up at the end when he dies. It's just so freaking sad.
He's doing that lip thing at the end when his lips getting numb and
Well, and he's
and he's
lisping.
so happy, and he knows
Lisping,
he's
yeah.
He's
dying.
having trouble
Yeah.
talking.
yeah.
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 John, did you what's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I thought I had seen this movie, but I think I only saw the ending because none of it, no memories were brought back. I like Clint Eastwood in just about anything. So let me start by saying that even his bad movies I like because he's just so interesting to me. And obviously I understand why Clint Eastwood felt like Jeff Bridges was stealing the movie because it was a much flashier part. But in fairness to Clint Eastwood, who only likes to do 3 takes, every now and then Bridges went to Cimino and said, look, I think I got a different take I'd like to do. Can we try it one more time? And he goes, well, you got to talk to Clint, and then go to Clint and say, all right, give the kid another chance. So he gave him the opportunity to shine the way he did.
He's a generous actor.
He is. And I also know the way his process. So I find that interesting, the way he makes movies, where some directors make you do 50 takes to get the right one. He's like, look, if you can't get it in 3, you're not going to get it. That's how because he wants a spontaneity. But first of all, I thought the movie was very funny. I was surprised by how funny it was. And there was a lot of funny stuff in it, almost slapsticky funny, like a Roadrunner cartoon. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
There's a fight where they're battling with Clint is beating up Red. They're fighting. And Jeffrey Lewis is against the car
with the 2 guns.
With the 2 guns, they're banging into him, and he's dropping the guns.
What should I do? What should I do?
What should I do? Should I shoot him? What?
Yeah. So I like
And
that.
he just takes the guns from him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the buildup, but I also think, there are a lot of plot contrivances, but the reality is this is kind of a Western and this is kind of a road picture, and the journey is what the movie's about, not the scenes that connect the journey, right? So that didn't bother me. Yeah, a bunch of coincidence, but who cares? It's how they played it. The turn at the end, though, when you realize when Clint Eastwood went to buy the car and Jeff Bridges is sitting on the grass by the post, and you can see there's something's off on him right there. And then the way he played it for the rest of the movie, where you slowly see him start to deteriorate. And even his Clint Eastwood's character says, you don't look good. You don't look good. That's when he does the whole monologue about he thinks he's a hero. It was touching. Yeah. And the other thing I'll say about Cimino, I always say this on the show. I like movies that show me something I haven't seen before. And the locations, what was it, Montana, I think it was?
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Obviously, he loves the landscape of Montana, the way he shot it, the way those long takes of the road with the car going down the road, in the mountains, even when they were walking the first chase with Red, when they went by the lake, when the car died, that the way he framed the shot with the lake in the background, it was just absolutely beautiful. And I really haven't seen places like that before. So I enjoyed that. Even the scene at the beginning, Ralph doesn't like backstory, right? Well, this movie just I was like, what the hell's going on? It just started. Yeah. And the guy's getting shot. And where does he run? Out into a field where the stuff's only up to his knees. And he's running from a guy with a gun. I'm like, what is he? Why don't you just duck?
The script said that so Jeff Bridges could hit him with the car.
But it was beautiful.
Right.
The shot was beautiful.
The scene I love, you're talking about a scene when they take the boat on Snake River. I'm watching that scene and the way they're talking on the back of the boat, and I'm trying to figure out how they shot that. So
well, you know that was live. That was not dubbed. You could tell by the sound.
It's an amazing shot with no drones, none of the stuff we have now to do that kind of thing. And you could see where people are excited about Cimino. It's like, oh my God, this guy. Did he was Deer Hunter after this one?
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, this guy's on his way, and then we know what happens. But
so I enjoyed it. As a heist movie, it was okay, but to me, it was much more. It was much more a character movie, and the performances were great. You could tell they were having a ball doing it, which I really liked. And the end was a tough ending after laughing 75% of the movie.
Beautiful 70s film.
And their bromance, and I kind of looked at it as like an older brother with a younger brother. That's how I saw it.
Oh, you didn't see with the apples, Adam and Eve?
No. Well, that's right. They were in Eden, right?
Right. Eden eating the apple.
Olympia beer.
Olympia. That's right. So, I really liked it. And I liked the fact that you could see that stronger performance from Jeff Bridges, what the future held for him.
Oh my God.
So,
And it's also interesting. I think one of the clever things, and I don't know why, I remember seeing this probably in college, so on videotape. And one of the things that I just thought was one of the best, most clever things about it was they're like, we need to raise a stake. So they all went out and got jobs.
Yeah, the little ice cream truck.
Yeah, Jeffrey Lewis's little ice cream thing. And but then when he breaks it down, I love that scene where they go back to the the trailer or whatever they're renting, and he starts talking about how there's no antenna and this and on the 7 minutes on the outside and all this stuff, and you realize that this guy's a professional too.
Right.
He may not be some guy who's going to callously, shoot a dude that he used to know and was a friend just because his other friend tells him to. But, it's funny, Debbie, I think, and I never thought of this, but the word you used, kinship, is perfect. It really, if we named episodes other than the title of the film, there is a kinship there, that they have that connection.
Well, and frankly, Red's character with Jeffrey Lewis's character, there's a bromance there. And you talk about that ice cream scene where they went down the wrong street.
When they're both in the car.
Well, and they're both in the car. The kid questions, you're in the wrong street. And Red says, get the F out of here, you little
No, he said, go F a duck.
Go F a duck. To this 12-year-old, I don't know how old that kid was. So there was a bromance there with those two.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And the funny thing is
it's a fascinating look at that kind of thing.
Chris, what's the funny thing?
Well, the thing about it is there's a great little kind of internal callback there where earlier in the film, George Kennedy makes fun of Lightfoot for he's a kid. He eats pistachio ice cream. And then later that kid goes, no, I like somebody else. They have a better flavor of pistachio. He's like a 12-year-old.
That's when he tells him. That's when he says F the duck right after that.
Yeah,
line.
that's what he says to him. F the duck.
Yeah.
So
I still didn't understand. I understood why Red turned on Lightfoot, but why did he turn on Clint Eastwood's character? I didn't understand that. Why they did it?
I have a theory about
what?
That. I think it was jealousy for the other man, the young guy.
So he was showing the other guy a little too much attention, and Red didn't like that.
So.
I did not.
You know what? That
did not see that.
I've been observing these romances for a long time, and what's really funny, talk about, I like this movie now. Are we frozen?
No,
you're good.
Now you are.
John, you're frozen.
That is so weird. Now you're back.
What happened to you, John?
He's not frozen. He's breathing.
I'm so worried.
I was acting.
Show here last night.
Scene.
But okay, John.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. What amazes me about these bromances, and now that I'm with you guys, I like this movie. After this discussion, I like this movie because there's so many things that is so true about men. It's about men, and sometimes women don't. I don't know, get these bromances or get these men films or guy films, what you would call it. This is purely a guy film.
That's good call right there. It is a guy film.
Yeah, it's like
now, but you have to break it down a little that they put Jeff Bridges in the dress him up as a woman for that scene where
That's
they got
part of it. That's
so
part of it.
there's definitely some underlying.
I think a lot of times men
homoeroticism
wanna-
going on.
No,
here
no, because of the way he
Bugs
shoved
Bunny
things
wanted
down his
to-
pants, the way he hiked
I'm
up
not
his
saying
skirt.
I'm saying the subtext of the film.
Mhm.
It's definitely there. Now, however Jeff Bridges played that, he said he was sexy. He looked himself in the mirror, goes, "I do you." He said, "I would do you," or something like that. So that's the underlying thing of both. I definitely thought that Red and his partner definitely had some relationship in prison or something. The way that as connected as they were. So, but again,
they were war buddies. They were all in the war together.
Yeah.
Just like
That's
the
a bond.
Greek. The Greeks did a lot of wars.
No. No,
offense on the Greeks, but there's.
No, they were a family. They were a dysfunctional family. That's
I know.
what it was.
I know you don't want to see that, John. I get it.
Because it wasn't there.
Jeff Bridges in those hot leather pants.
In hindsight, no. And you always talk about looking at it through 2021, 2022 eyes. There was no way was that the context of that movie back then. We're looking at it now because there's so much more of it. So now we're trying to squeeze it in and say, oh, it's not. It wasn't made that way.
Then why does Jeff Bridges do that scene where he fake kisses Red if there wasn't that?
Because he's trying to get under his skin.
Why? Why would that get under his skin?
He was doing more than that to get under his skin the whole time.
He's basically accusing him of being a homosexual. I'm just saying.
You know what,
Ralph? I think Ralph has a valid point.
And why did no one have sex with those rabbits?
What is that? Okay.
Okay, no, but
what are you talking
No,
about?
that
when the rabbits, when they're getting all the rabbits.
Yeah.
I was actually afraid they were going to shoot one of those rabbits.
Well, he shot at them. They didn't kill. They didn't show it on camera.
No,
with a
but it was
shotgun.
really kind
With a
of-
shotgun, he missed them.
Yeah.
That was
That's
convenient.
the guy who raped Ned Beatty.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All I know is Jeff Bridges was
talk
with
about
Daisy Duke,
70s.
so that tells me everything I need to know about him.
No, listen. It's not that he couldn't have been bisexual, John.
Oh, now he's bisexual.
I'm not saying any of that.
You know what? I've changed my mind. This was the precursor to Brokeback Mountain. I completely changed
You're damn
my mind.
right. There you go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Boom. We solved the problem.
Why do they call you Thunderbolt?
All right.
Let me
Before
show you.
Listen, I want to move on because this is a good pick.
Yeah, good call.
pick,
Good
Chris.
way to
This is
start
good.
the year off, Chris.
Hey, Chris, if you want to win over Ralph and me, just keep going to the 7.
This is beautiful. But I do want to show one thing.
This is a movie I haven't seen, so I was glad to watch.
I want to
it.
show a local
like it as
news.
much.
I want to show a local news report that they did about the film. I'll show.
Was
it
this
like a
while
minute-
they were filming?
While they're filming, I'm going to show a minute of it. I just want to show you how relaxed and how different this feels compared to what we see now on these things when people do these. But I just felt like Clint comes off really good in this, and it's really fascinating. So here, take a look at this.
Okay. We're on location with Clint Eastwood, the
love that shirt.
superstar. And Clint, my first question is, what is a nice guy like you doing in a pool hall in Great Falls, Montana?
Well, we're shooting all kinds of wild scenes. Actually, not too wild. We're just shooting scenes about playing pool, and I was looking over the area, sneak around, sneak back.
Right. You're Thunderbolt in this
Right.
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Yeah, and I'm working on a job. I'm working in a machine shop up the way, and we're just here in the evening talking about what's going to happen next.
Were all these extras that you were shooting with tonight local people
Oh
here?
yeah, that's it, local guys. Most of them hang out in this. I mean, come in here occasionally.
Listen to him giggle.
Clint,
I mean, he's giggling.
I want to ask you, what have you enjoyed most about filming in Montana?
Water skiing.
And where have you been going water skiing?
No, I mean, I've just been enjoying myself. The weather's been super since we've been here. Last week's got a little wet, but for the most part, it's been very warm. So I've been kind of relaxing and water skiing down at the river here.
Mm-hmm. And you've been able to have your family all here?
Right, and but
his family and his girlfriend.
It's beautiful.
I got to tell you, Clint Eastwood.
They flew his
both-
girlfriend in.
Yeah, I know. He does that in every movie. Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges both have just a beautiful head of hair.
Oh my God!
I
And
mean,
this is Clint during Magnum
oh my
Force,
God,
Dirty Harry.
just
time.
gorgeous, just
It's-
like
yeah.
oh.
I can
those big
understand Debbie
sideburns.
like staring at his back and all that because he is an amazing man.
I wish I had that shirt.
That is a beautiful.
I think my
shirt.
dad had a shirt just like
Oh
that.
my God,
blue
he wore that
father had
check.
a shirt just like that too.
I want Jeff Bridges had that great shirt with checkers on it and those leather pants he was wearing.
Oh, yeah.
good.
All I
All
could
right.
think was those must have been hot.
Oh my God!
Wasn't he wearing the leather pants when he was working out there too?
Yeah, working when that woman presses against the glass.
That was the most 70s scene of them all.
Oh, it's a beautiful.
Oh yeah,
had everything we like.
When George Kennedy walks in on the young girl and the guy.
Well, when she says
he pulls his mask up.
Right. Well, my teenage daughter is downstairs. She's down there banging her boyfriend. Crazy. All right. So good job, Chris. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Glad you like
All right. So we'll do the spin for next time.
Well, I say Yippee-Ki-Yay on this one.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. It's been
now, Debbie, you changed, though, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Debbie changed.
Well, because of this discussion.
Well, see, that's why you want to subscribe to this channel. This is why you want to share it. This is why you want to
This is why
punch that like button.
You could change your mind at any time.
Yeah.
You like something, you don't like it, and then you like it.
So you give it a Yippee-Ki-Yay, Deb?
Yes, I do.
Hey, Sean?
Strong Yippee-Ki-Yay. Didn't like it as much as I did when I first saw it, but it's still a powerful film. It's great moments. It's fun. It's got a great heist, great performances. And it's directed well.
Yeah, I'm going to say Yippee-Ki-Yay. As a kid, I only remember Jeff Bridges' death scene, but as an adult watching it, his whole performance was actually amazing. I can see why he got nominated for the Oscar because he was terrific. Terrific. So good job, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so let's see who's going to bring the next classic. You got to drop
my money's
off the wheel.
My money's on Ralph.
Chris. There you go. All right, here we go.
Oh, by the way, this is our weekly one, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, big talk. All right, there you go.
Well, when you said classic, John always brings the classics.
Yes.
The old classics. Yes, he does.
Oh,
he does. I'm sure
so there's a difference in classics depending on the age of it, Ralph?
A little bit.
Old classics?
I have to acknowledge that there are.
Would you say Clute? Is Clute a classic?
No.
Okay. It's not.
It's not a classic, but it is in my mind.
It's a life-changing.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah.
All right. So there you go. So John has next week.
I will let you know within the next.
Chris, I know things get a little tricky, but if you can join us,
I will let you know in the next 2 days. So you guys will have
know in a couple
of time.
days, so we can start watching it.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good week. Now we're going week to week, so enjoy the week. Stay safe. That was
that's why you want to subscribe, right? Because we're going weekly now.
This is it.
That's a reason to
content.
subscribe.
Content is king.
I just want to say, I don't think of us as podcasters. No. I think of us as heroes. We did a job.
I don't know what you're saying. Why are you saying that now?
I feel the same way.
I agree with you. We are heroes. Let's go. Keep it going in 2022. All right.
Okay. And the strangest, I gotta say one final thing.
Oh boy!
Not about the Holocaust.
No.
Okay.
About bromances.
Bromance. Oh.
My husband and my dad had a bromance.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I can see how that could be psychologically damaging to you.
What'd you say, Sean?
We spent a lot of time in the hot tub together.
Oh.
And wait a minute, it's time for me to take off my shirt.
No.
Holy cow! Hey,
and I'm going to throw it to a fan.
Go. All right.
That's my Antonio.
Oh, this year is starting off on the right foot, baby.
All right, everybody. Have a good, safe week. We'll see you next time.
Great show, everyone. Great pick, Chris. See you next week.
A lot of fun.
All right, guys. Bye.